Armin had never intended to stay in the farmhouse long. It was only meant to be temporary, a place to breathe after the chaos of city life. The property had belonged to his late uncle, a quiet man who'd lived alone for decades in rural Punjab. The house stood on the edge of a forgotten village, half-eaten by creeping vines and rust. Cracks spiderwebbed through the walls, and every board beneath Armin's feet groaned like it was carrying secrets. The will was simple. Armin would inherit everything on one condition: never open the basement. Ever. That sentence had been underlined in the will, written in what looked like shaking hands. Armin had laughed it off at first. Superstition, maybe. Just an old man trying to leave behind mystery. But curiosity always scratches, even when you know it shouldn't. The basement door itself was a relic, made of thick, rotting wood and held shut with 6 large iron nails hammered deep into the frame, as if someone wasn't trying to keep people out, but something in. On his 3rd night in the house, the silence broke. Armin was lying on the couch, scrolling through social media with the TV off, when a long, aching creak echoed from behind the kitchen. He sat up, pulse rising. There it was again, slow, deliberate, like wood dragging against metal hinges. He got up, tiptoeing across the cold floor, and peered around the corner. The basement door stood wide open. Nails were scattered across the ground like someone had carefully removed each one, not broken or bent, just pulled out, laid down neatly. And from the dark mouth of the stairs, Armin heard something that made the blood drain from his face. Footsteps, coming up. He slammed the door shut and bolted it with an old cabinet, then fled to the attic, heart pounding. That's where he found his uncle's journal, buried beneath old photo albums and dusty boxes labeled "Don't Touch." The journal was worn, its pages yellowed and stiff. At first, it read like the ramblings of someone losing their grip, strange drawings, notes written at odd angles. But then the entries became clearer and darker. It mimics voices, first mine, then mother's, then yours. It watches through the mirrors, don't keep any uncovered. He knows my name now. The thing in the basement remembers me. And finally, never answer if it calls you by name. That night, Armin tried to sleep with the lights on, door locked, phone in hand. But around 3 a.m., the vents in the ceiling began to hum, not from airflow, but with a voice. "Armin," it whispered, "you used to laugh. You had such a sweet laugh."
His breath caught in his throat. The voice didn't come from inside the house. It came from beneath it. But worse than the voice itself was that it sounded like someone he loved. Familiar, warm, like a version of his uncle if it had been played on a broken tape recorder. Armin pressed his hands over his ears, whispering to himself that it wasn't real. But it spoke again, louder now. "You left me down here. You forgot about me." He screamed and ran from his room. That was the moment he decided to get proof, to find out if he was losing his mind or if something truly was living beneath the house. He set up an old security camera, placing it directly across from the basement door. He hit record and waited. At exactly 3:11 a.m., the door opened again. No slamming, no sudden jump, just a slow, patient creak, like it was stretching its arms. Something stepped out, tall and thin, moving awkwardly. Armin stared in disbelief as the thing stepped forward. Through the grainy screen, he could see its face. It was him, his own face. Same shirt, same walk, same scar above his eyebrow. But the eyes were hollow, black voids where life should have been. The figure turned to the camera, tilted its head, and smiled. Then it said, in a voice identical to his, "I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me." The screen turned black. He ran to the door, nothing. Hall empty. Camera still in place. But the footage remained untouched, staring back at him like a warning. The next day, Armin packed to leave. But the house didn't want him to. When he opened the curtains, the windows no longer showed the village outside. Each window now displayed the same thing, the top of the basement stairs. No matter which side of the house he looked from, front, back, kitchen, bedroom, every window showed the same view. Stairs. A door. Darkness. When he opened the front door, he didn't see his car. Or the road. Just the stairs again new. Wooden, rotting, leading downward into a pit of black. His phone rang. It played an old audio clip, his own laughter, over and over again. Something was twisting his memory, editing who he was. Desperate, he tied a rope around the banister and stepped into the basement. Each step down felt like he was sinking into water. The air grew heavy. Sound became muffled. His flashlight flickered. The stairs went deeper than they should have, far deeper than the house should allow. At the bottom, he found a single mirror, and in it, his uncle sitting motionless. Eyes open, smiling. His uncle spoke, lips barely moving. "You opened the door. Now someone has to take my place." Armin screamed. The flashlight shattered in his hand. The mirror cracked. Then, silence. 1 week later, a real estate agent visited the property. The house was dark. Dust everywhere. Food rotted on the table. Phone lines dead. No sign of Armin. As she turned to leave, a sound echoed from the kitchen. A slow, careful creak. The basement door opened.